the thing I want to do and center before we go any further, this is about the dominance of the Miami Hurricanes. I told y'all all summer, Florida's legendarily hard schedule didn't start in October. It didn't start later on. It wasn't about the last 5 games. Their epically tough schedule started because they had to see us in the opener. I told y'all that. Oh, no. I told you from day one, starting by seeing us is where their tough journey began. And that was borne out to be true, right? And look, this team, all the potential in the world, right? But this is about how Miami dominated. I even got into a fight with Mike McDaniel, good friend of mine. He has a pod with, him and Joey, the Basketball Conference podcast. I go on there multiple times a year. Personal friends. He writes at Sports Illustrated, and his article was, and I said, I disagree. Well, sorry, let me finish the thought. His article was like, the terrible performance of the Florida Gators. And I said, their debacle was only because of the dominance of the Miami Hurricanes. He said, read the article. I read the article. I stand by it. All these people in the space, right, that are centering the losers, y'all need to step back. Miami was dominant. Like I said all offseason, if you put this program in Alabama Crimson and Cream, if you put it in Georgia red and black or whatever, you would be talking about the dominance of that team. First, foremost, and only. And I know that there are a lot of people giving Miami praise, but to all those people who are centering Florida, shut your face, give the credit where it's due that Miami whipped their asses, and then go there. But the primary thought here, the first thing you take away is that Miami is a championship caliber contending team. They need to continue to do the rest of the work through the rest of the season. But that is the first thing. That is the bedrock upon which all commentary and analysis must begin. And then we can touch those other things. Miami went there. Miami whooped that ass. Miami was so physically dominant to the point where Florida said, we are so far away that we're going back to square one on offensive line. Every position is open, right? Florida, literally, I reposted the article. This week in practice, they said and I don't know how they in their building are so lost, but they thought that, what Gator Dave or whatever said on this show was more likely reality. And again, I don't know what multiverse they live in. But their performance was, and again, Miami whooped them up front to the point where they said, yo, we got to reconsider everything immediately. That's how dominant Miami was. And you notice how Mario Cristobal didn't leak to people, Pete Thamel and others. We have the best defensive line in the country. Remember when I pushed back on the Florida State talk about that? Because it was so clearly a plant of, hey, Mark, this is what I think. It would be great if you said that on the show. Hey, Pete Thamel, this is what I think. It would be really great if you hyped us up, right? Miami didn't do that. We did the work. And now Pro Football Focus, and now On 3, and now Cover 3 podcast, and all these other people are saying, yo, wait, does Miami have the best defensive line in the country? Why? Because of that work that we gave Florida on the field, not the PR, not the, corporate propaganda. Went out and gave them that work. And so before we go any further, I just wanted to be sure that we are all aligned on this. It starts with Miami having done the job, whipping their ass and moving on before any other part of commentary. And I just wanted to share that and get that on record.
I should have grabbed my pen about 4 minutes ago because now I have too many counterpoints in my brain to get them all out. Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with any of that. I don't necessarily agree with some of it. So These are the counterpoints. Point number one would be, of course, it's all about Miami for you. So, of course, you're going to have that slant to it. You're going to take that approach to it, of course.
Right. But, look, even when it was 58-0 and it was Clemson, it started with Clemson did all this stuff. That's where it starts. And now, what's the fallout for Al Golden? What's the fallout moving forward? What's the da-da-da-da-da-da? Brad Kaya got concussed on a two-man rush against max protection, right? Going back to, when Al Golden was fired. I started with Clemson because you have to start there, right? Say, hey, this is what it is, and then going forward. Yeah, and I hate to be that guy who's the alum, but it is all about the U. What are we talking about? It starts with us. It has to be giving credit there and then moving on. It just does.
But I'm coming from the approach of anytime there are two name brands that meet on a football field, especially when it's early in the season before we know anything else about the two teams, and we are trying to find out about the two teams, we walk away from the situation, especially when there is it's not a USC LSU game where, okay, USC technically won the game, but we just saw two teams that battle to the last play. So it's a coin flip. We know nothing more than they're really even football teams. So we came away with a dominant performance. One team is clearly better than the other. There's no question about it. What I'm stating is that it's sometimes the analysis can begin with, okay, is one of these teams really clearly better because they are so good? And the other teams, they've got their issues, but they're not really that bad. Or is this other team really that bad and they made the winning team look that good? And I'm just saying that has yet to be determined.
Okay. I mean, I disagree. I think that, I saw this coming. I called this. So, like,
you did.
Yeah, maybe there's some people who are Johnny come lately and they, like Gator Dave last week, thought otherwise and their worldview is shifting. And that's why they got to talk about Florida being terrible. But, like, I was not pressed or concerned to going into this game. I really was not. I was
Absolutely. Not. You stated that for months. Yes.
So, hey, but okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Now, I will also say that these two teams / programs came into this game off of last season and off the last couple of years as pretty much the same team, meaning the results have been roughly the same. I know Florida had a 5-7 record and Miami was 7-6, but Miami played a easier schedule. So basically the performance of the two teams has been negligible over the last two seasons. Okay. Florida, if anything, has probably, well, I won't go into that in trying to break down who's beaten better teams because Miami did beat Texas A&M and Clemson last year. So anyway, negligible results over the last two seasons.
Fair.
Now, my lean going into this game, I was clearly flawed analyzing two games. Well, I wasn't flawed. I was flawed not in my analysis. I was flawed in my selection in two games this week because I was looking for an upset because I was playing the numbers probability of there being upsets the first weekend of the season because like you, but not to the extent, because I think we had this conversation where you said Miami is clearly the better team. It's not close, decisive. And I said, I agree with you. I'm going through quarterback, weapons, offensive line, defensive line. Only place I see maybe secondary where Miami maybe didn't fix some issues. But all these other areas, Miami's better. So they should win the game. So I am in your camp, but maybe not to the degree that you are. But I did the same thing with Penn State and West Virginia. I was looking to pick an upset. And even though I was like, well, I wasn't doing it with a pen, but as I was typing my response or my prediction for the world to see, I kind of shook my head and knew West Virginia is not winning this game. Penn State's too good for them, but I'm trying to pull the trigger on an upset. And I did the same thing in this game. So that was a dumb thing to do. Yeah, I had some other points to be made, but that was generally it. Just that the personnel on the Miami football team tells me that this is real, that this should continue to be real. When I see Cam Ward, Damian Martinez, Xavier Restrepo, I know that all these guys are first-rate players. The defensive line, the offensive front, all of this. So I know that they're first-rate players. It's just I would love to see them play somebody else that could challenge them. And I thought Florida might be capable of doing that, but they certainly weren't.
Yeah, and I think that can happen down the line. And I do think that, there are some talented pieces in Gainesville. fewer than
sure. Yeah.
they think, for sure. And even the talented pieces that they have were neutralized or eliminated completely. The one player on offense that gives you any really concern is Eugene Trey Wilson. He had 5 catches? I still have the stats open as per usual. 7 catches for 50. I mean, those are numbers, but like that's not crazy. 7 yards a catch,
Damage.
right?
Yeah.
No, that's not really making anything crazy. And I mean, yeah, like Miami basically gifted Florida all of their points. You had the bad Cam Ward interception that turned into 3. Shout out to the defense to holding them to 3. You have a misalignment, busted defense that got gashed for 71 because they were not aligned, and then the guys on that side didn't necessarily they didn't keep contained. Neither Wesley Besainth nor Jaden Harris. I gave it more to Jaden Harris than Wesley Besainth. A lot of people push back on the side, good, bad, and ugly. Whatever. Whoever you want to pick. It was 2 dudes over there, and both of them swam under and went inside.
Mm-hmm.
Say whatever you want. And, whatever. I believe it should have been Jaden Harris because, yes, Wesley's out there, but as a safety, you have to have the firm outside contained. But if you want to say, oh, they were playing inverted, cool. But you gift them that, and they hit that, and then you get a garbage time score late, and
yeah,
you're rotating through the 2 deep and everything. It wasn't all starters like they tried to, Jesse Palmer, University of Florida graduate, tried to say, oh, it's all starters out there. It's contributing players. I'll give you that, but whatever. And on top of that, arguably our best player on defense, Ruben Bain, played 3 snaps, rolled his ankle, and didn't play the rest of the game. So, like, you get, and this is where you see the construction of this year's roster coming to the forefront. You have Ahmad Moten, a defensive tackle, a third-year guy, younger brother of previous Miami Hurricane Moten, right? He's in there contributing. You got 5-star freshman Justin Scott playing meaningful snaps, right? You got Tyler Barron, bang, he's in there. You got Akeem Mesgor playing inside, starting at defensive tackle because he's up to 6'3", 285. So he's inside and outside. You got this, you got that. You got more defensive line you can shake stick at, right? But it was a great performance. And in so many words, Miami easily left 25, 30 points on the field. Like it could have really been mid 50s to 60s to 3 or 10. If you take out gifting them their first 10 points, honestly, like this was pretty much a name your score game. And for those who are like, no, we didn't leave that many points on the field, I'm going to count them for you. We settled for 2 field goals. That's 4 plus 4. So that's 8 right there, right? You have the interception drive. That's 7. You have the drop trick play, which is a touchdown. That's another 7. So that's 14 and 8. That's 22 right there. And there's more. So that's all I'm saying. And I'm not, look, and if you finish those drives with touchdowns, like, so it's not maybe a direct boom, but like if you finish these drives and you do these things and you don't drop that, and that was such a great trick play call. And it was a great throw from Restrepo. And like, I don't know why Sam Brown only put up one hand, but like, I just named you 22 points and I didn't even really go through all of the things that happened. Like, it's pretty easy. It's pretty, and Miami scored 41. Even if you get half of the points that were left on the field, that's a 50 burger and then some. That's what I'm talking about. It was, it was not close. Incredible performances pretty much all around. There are some things to work on. I would like to see the run game get a little more active. I think that was curtailed a little bit because Florida does have a big and physical front. 4.4 a carry on 33 carries. You would like to see that number be a little bit higher. But 4.4 a carry in that kind of a game, every 3 carries, you're still moving the chains and things like that. And you have Cam Ward magic on top of that, which is great. But you want to see that get tightened up a little bit. You want to see, not missing guy. There was another play where Cam Ward threw a medium route and Josiah Trader was running down the middle of the field, butt naked, wide open for a touchdown. And like, he didn't even, I forget the full context of the play, but I know Josiah Trader came open and the ball went somewhere else for whatever reason, right? But again, that's a play that could have been a touchdown. So there was a lot that was left out there. A lot. And I'm super proud of that performance. I'm super excited for that performance. I graded pretty much across the board B+. I had a lot of people, pushing back on those grades in the good, the bad, and the ugly. But when you look at it with the standard being the standard and being a championship caliber team, which I believe this team has the potential to be, those are the kind of, we're nitpicking at this point. I absolutely am 100,000%. And that sounds to me, the real grades are A's and da-da-da. We can disagree. I'm perfectly fine with that. But like, when you have Crystal Ball coming out and saying, look, we can get so much better. There's this, there's that, there's technique, there's footwork, there's, conditioning that players can do. Cam Ward, when asked by Adam Lichtenstein of the Sun Sentinel, he said, yeah, so what are some of the positives from the game? And Cam Ward listed 7 negatives and said, yeah, it's great that we left so many plays out there. It's great that we, and Matt Shodell from Kane Sport followed up at the end of his availability and said, wait, I just want to circle back to that first question, Cam. Maybe I missed it. You were asked to extol the positives in that performance, and you gave a list of 7 areas for improvement. Did I hear that right? And he goes, absolutely. Because I'm proud of what we did, but if we want along the path towards where we want to get, it's great that we see these opportunities to grow and be even better. That's the best thing from that. That's a complete and total mind shift from, where we've been. So, yeah, I mean, everybody should be excited, except for Florida fans. I do have a couple of Florida fan friends who have gone into, actually, all of my friends, because the Florida State friends, yeah, they're in the same bunker of silence and solitude, because I'm not hearing from any of them right now. Nor should we. But yeah, 41-17 wasn't even that close. And, I think we started to get some answers to some of the questions, including and especially the secondary. And I know it's only one data point and it's only one game, but if that is the kind of performance and trajectory we can expect from the secondary, starting a true freshman, OJ Frederick from St. Thomas Aquinas, who had transferred there from Deerfield that I told you all about, and I listed as my potential breakout player in the preview roundtable on stateoftheu.com on defense, said, I think that he's going to start, and I think that he might play really well, and played like 29 or 31 snaps. I don't believe that he gave up a catch, maybe one. So a lot of positives, can tighten up some other things. Oh, and another 3 points were left on the board because we missed a field goal attempt. So you add that to the 22, that's 25 points left on the board immediately right there. It can get so much better, and I'm really excited to see the journey this year.
I'm not going to challenge you on the points left on the field, but I do think anytime somebody says that we kicked a field goal or settled for a field goal when we should have had a touchdown, I would just have to see the play sequence and see if there was a missed assignment, a missed throw, a missed catch to legitimize whether it was truly left on the field or they just got stopped in the red zone.
That's fair.
Somebody in particular, a few people maybe didn't appreciate my analysis of this game, and maybe I focused too much on Florida's inadequacies and that they just, to me, looked just so much worse than I expected them to look. Yeah. But I did do this, folks. I do display my top 25 every typically Sunday, of course, but we had Sunday and Monday games and got Miami up to number 5 in the country. That's my current ranking. So I'm
based
giving
upon
a lot
games
of
played this season.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yes,
and I think that that's fair. Florida was completely outcoached, outplayed, outclassed. I mean, in every way possible. Cam Ward even had to go on and after the game, being asked about the environment, had to teach Florida fans how to be fans, and they pride themselves in the strength of their fandom. And he had to let them know. He said, "Hey, first of all, I played at Washington, right? So I went to Wazoo. I played at Washington. I played at Autzen. Yeah. Those are louder. And also, if you want to really, matter as fans, y'all actually got to be loud when we're in the huddle, not just when we break and get to the line. By that point, we've already discussed everything, have our communication set and everything. So if y'all want to be them boys, if you want to have a positive impact on stadium pulse and atmosphere and everything, let me teach you a little something. I mean, insult to injury for those morons. I mean, y'all don't even know how to fan right up there. Where's George? Is George in the chat? I'm going to go to the comments and see, is George in the chat? Has he come out from underneath his bunker to say anything in this chat here today? Because Lord God, he was selling wolf tickets all off season. George, where you at, buddy?
Come on, George.
See what I was talking about, Mark? How the Florida and Florida State fans are in the solitude of this, the fortress of silence and solitude. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Y'all don't even know how to fan right. You got to have the Miami Hurricanes quarterback who played an Incarnate Word for 2 years and Wazoo for 2 years to teach y'all how to be fans in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, to teach y'all how to fan right? That's shameful. Wowzers. Man, that's got to suck. Y'all don't even know how to be fans.
I got to say that our views and our attendance here on the Miami show, Miami videos, everything that emanates from our channel does not suffer through some bad seasons. So Miami fans seem to largely be true to their brand.
Look, and that's the thing that I've said when people push back like 2017 and say, oh, y'all fair weather fans and everything. Who's sticking through? If Florida, if their thing is in storm and sunshine, right? Who's sticking through Falconer TRX with the first super sticker? Love that. But who's sticking with the Miami Hurricanes program that's been this kind of putrid for 20 going on 25 years, save a couple of 9-win seasons and a singular 10-win year? Who's fair weather on that? We're diehards. We are here. I came on here the week after we lost at Cincinnati on the road, the infamous don't rise to the occasion day. I was in the press box counting people in each section in 58-0 against Clemson. I was there instead, only because of my friend Rich Gray. Shout out to Rich Gray, because I wanted to leave, but he drove down from Fort Lauderdale. I was there to the end of the final game at the Orange Bowl, 48-0 to Virginia. Look, we've seen all of this. Why would we be fair? What's fair weather? It's been underneath. We've had clouds going over us like it's a Peanuts cartoon and everything. No, we stay here, 10 toes down. And it's been intermittent sunshine, but ain't no clouds on the horizon right now. Now we still got to work. We got to be focused on the next opponent and keep doing what we need to do. But we are very true to that. And I appreciate, to the point, everyone being here and continuing to support by watching and commenting and being here along the way of all of this, because, hey, I'm here 10 toes down to talk about the Miami Hurricanes through thick and thin. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all being here. Shout out to Kenson Monestein. Wonder what's going on. Man, this man, I remember he was in high school. Honestly, we've kind of inverted. He was a little chunky. I guess I picked up the chunkiness that he had. This man be in the gym now, boy. I see you, Kenson, man. Getting swolled up, man. Boulder shoulders, big 18-inch biceps and everything. 6-pack abs coming through on you, bro. I see you, Kenson.